Friends, internet won't be called an interconnected net without hyperlinks. So there are lots of individual pages, and the thing that links them together are hyperlinks. So let's learn about them. So for example, I have created a small application for all of you. So we have books.html, coffee.html, contact.html, index.html. They are all at the exact same level, right? By the level I mean, if you look at the directory structure, friends, I'll just zoom in a little bit. So we have inside of our desktop a directory called HTML Asan hai. Inside of that we have links, and all of these are inside of links, right? So we say that all of these are in the same level, right? Now if I go inside about, there is a page called about.html, founders.html. So about.html is not in the same level as books. It's one level down. And inside, then another level down we have founders.html. So if you see the directory structure, you have a project called links, a directory called links, in which you have books, coffee, contact, index. Inside of that you have about, inside which you have about.html, and another directory called founders, and inside of that you have founder. So now when I say these four files are in the same level, I think it makes a little bit more sense to you, right? One level down we have about.html, second level down we have founder.html. So all of them are very simple HTML file that I have just created for you. So now what I want is, friends, first thing, I think before even moving to links, let me try to explain you something. So when I open index.html or contact.html or books.html using live server, you will see something like this, right? So this particular page you will be able to see in the browser. Okay, what I did is I just right clicked and opened them with live server. So here you will see that there is path to books.html. There is an IP address or local host. This is the address of our own computer, which is acting as a server now. And ports you can think of as several doors through which our page could be accessed. So if it was an open server, right? If it was a computer that had open ports, right? So this books could be accessed from any other computer connected to internet. But right now, because of live server, it's just available to the local host or our own computer from this particular port that was auto-assigned. And this is the path to the HTML file. Don't worry too much about it. We'll go into depth of it later. For now, just understand that this represents the root. By root, I mean the folder in which our file, HTML file, is present from where we started the live server. Okay. And this is the file that we want to access, books.html. If I want to access coffee.html, all I can do is coffee.html and I can see that page. If I want to access friends contact.html, I can access it this way. And friends, if I want to access about.html, how can I do that? So I can do that using about/about.html. You can see I can access the about us page. If I want to access founder.html, how do I do that? So after our root, inside about, we have a directory called founders. And inside of that, we have a file called founder.html, and we are able to access our founders page. So similarly, the way we access directories, right? Very similar to that. This is the root. So when I'm saying root, I mean the folder, the immediate folder. For example, I started live server on books.html. So the folder in which books exist, right? Which is the links folder, the folder in which all 4 of these exist, books exist. The links folder is our root. So now friends, if I don't give any file here to the root, if I just try to open the root directory, I'm not giving name of any file, I'm just trying to open a root, a directory. Can you think which file would be opened? Index, contact, coffee, books, about, founder, right? So let's see what happens. So if I try to access, you will see that our index.html is open. Now this is something you should know, and probably you know that if you directly try to access a directory, a folder, a root folder from a browser will try to find a file called index.html and open that. So that's why most of the home pages, the welcome pages, the first pages that you see when you type any URL is index.html. Next friends, browsing files this way by typing different things like contact.html in the URL does not make much sense, right? It's not a very good user experience. So inside of index.html, I want to create a link, friends. Inside of index.html, I want to create a link called books. And this should be a link, a hyperlink, and when I click it, it should take me to the books page, the books web page, this one. How do I do that? We do that by surrounding or wrapping books with an anchor tag, A for anchor. And if I try to wrap book with an anchor tag, you will see that Visual Studio Code or Emmet gives me an attribute called href for free. So you can see that as soon as I surrounded books with an anchor tag which had a href attribute, immediately it looks like a link. When I hover over it, the pointer turns into hand, and it tries to give us a hint, a clue that it is now a link. Now where will this link take us is something that we need to type here inside of href. So right now I want it to take us to an HTML page called books.html, which is in the same level of index.html. So books.html. If I save it, and now if I click books, see, it takes us to books, right? Much more better than typing it out here, right? Now inside of books, I want to create a page, a link called home page. So whenever home is clicked, I want it to take me to index.html page. Is it making sense, friends? So now if I click home, it takes me to index. If I click books, it takes me to the books page. So similarly, in index.html, I can create another hyperlink just by pressing A for coffee. So now if I click coffee, it will take me to the coffee page. I can create another hyperlink, another link. I can use anchor tag. So basically these are called links or the URLs. And the outcome of it, the clickable link, is called a hyperlink. Okay. Now if I want to go to maybe contact.html, I can create a hyperlink for that. So far, very good, easy, right? One more thing I'll do is, just to make it look like a more real world menu, I'll maybe copy this here, because in websites you do have a home link, right? Usually the logos are home link. So inside of index, I'll also put a home link. So it looks more like a real menu. Lovely, right? Already looking so much more better. Now friends, what if I want to access or put a link to this about page, which is just one folder down inside a folder called about? So again, it's very simple. I'll create an anchor tag. Here I'm putting the path relative to the current page. So right now these were in the same level relative to index.html, so I was able to use them directly. Now I want to access about, so the path to that would be about/about.html. Cool. And I'll create another one for founders. So inside of about we have founders. Inside of that we have founder.html, and we'll name it founder. And if I save it, so now I have a wonderful menu. I can go anywhere. So for example, I can go to books page, I can go to coffee page, I can go to contact page, I can go to about page, and I can go to founders page. Lovely, right? Now usually all of our pages in a web application, they have these links, right? So let me copy paste it everywhere in all the pages. Okay, so what I'll do is, I am already inside of index, inside of contact as well I'll paste it, inside of coffee as well I will paste it, inside of book as well I'm pasting it, inside of about I'll paste it. Again, we will hit a challenge and then we'll fix it. Okay, now we have this inside of all of our pages. Now let's see how our user experience looks like. So from the home page, I can go to books. From books, I can go again back to home. From book, then I can go to coffee. From coffee page, I can go to books, right? From books, I can go to contact. From contact, I can go to about. From about, if I try to go to books, see what happens. Can you spot what just happened? It's interesting, right? So friends, if I go to about.html, and if you see books.html, the anchor tag for books.html, you will see that we are trying to access books relative to the about page, and we are telling it that books.html is in the same level as about.html. So where is browser trying to find it? Where is about page /about/about.html, right? So where is browser trying to find it? It's trying to find it in about/books.html. But where is books.html? One level down. So how do we go one level down? How do we tell our browser that it needs to look one level down? Using two dots and then a slash. Let's see what happens. If I save, I go back to the about page, and now if I click on books, again you can see that it's not available. I had to hard refresh my browser once by pressing Control and then the refresh button, and now if I click on books, you see I go to the books one level down, and now again if I click about, it takes me to the about page. Sounds good? Now we are hitting a kind of a problem, right? I mean, it's making things a bit messy. Let's again go back to books and try to go to the founder, right? So let's see what we get. We are able to access founders. Why? Because in the about, it's very specific that from this particular directory we are going to founder and then founder.html. But if I click again books from founders page, what would happen? It will not be able to find, right? So if I go to founder, I'm not able to find books in the same URL. How do I do that? I need to go 2 level down, right? To access books, I need to go 2 level down. 1 level down to the about directory, another level down to the main directory, to the root directory, right? And now if I don't know, for some reason I have to hard refresh it. And now if I try to go to books, I'll just refresh it again. I'll just hard refresh it. Command Shift R. So I'm here right now in the founder. And inside of founder, if I try to hit books, I had to hard refresh it. I don't know, for some reason it does not work. Maybe because of the way live server works, or maybe it is cached or something like that. So if I hard refresh the page, now I am able to access books. From books I can go to founders. From founders I can go to books. So friends, understand one thing very carefully. Although it looks very simple, for real world development you need to understand one thing. We are trying here, just focus on books and founders for now. Okay, just focus on 2 pages, founders and books. I'll just get rid of rest of them so that we can focus on the 2. So we have a founder page, we have a books page. Okay. Now, book, we are trying to access founder.html relative to books.html. So inside of books we have about, inside of books we have founders, inside of about we have founders, inside of founder we have founder.html. So this entire URL or link is relative to books. If I see founder and focus on this particular URL, you might have to watch it a couple of times, some of you, it's okay, but it's very important. That's why I wanted to include it. You're trying to access books.html relative to founder. So you go 1 level up to founder directory, then you go another level up, and then finally you are able to access books. So everything is relative to the current HTML page. Okay? So all the links we have written so far, they are relative and relative to the current page. We can make them all relative to the root as well. Okay? So for example, can I do something, can I write URLs in a way that everything is relative to this links directory? So if I just type / if I am on link, I should be able to access these. Then in relative to links, I can access about. Relative to links, I should be able to access founder. The reason I would like to do that is so that I can share the very common set of links to all the pages and it should work just fine. Yeah, let's try it out, friends. Let's try it out. The way we access root is when our URL starts with a /. So here we are trying to give everything relative to root, and inside of root we have index.html. Inside of root we have books.html. Inside of root, we have coffee.html. Inside of root, we have contact. Inside of root, we have about. Inside of about, we have about.html. Inside of root, we have about. Inside about, we have founders. And we have finally founder.html. So here, the paths are, URLs are relative, but they are not relative to the current page. They are relative to the root directory, the directory from where we started the live server. So there is a subtle difference, and there are not many videos that try to explain it really well. So now if I save it, friends, and now I'll just pause the recording and copy paste it. Okay, let me do it directly in front of you. So I'll not worry about other pages. From founder, I'll directly go to books. Okay, and I'll just paste it in the founders as well, the exact same link, but we are relative to the server. Okay, now I'll hit save. Okay, now I'm using the exact same links in our hyperlink here, and I'm using the same links here, both for the books page and the founder page, and you will see that our links are working just fine. So I can go to founders, from founders I can go to books, without any problem. Why? Because these links are not relative to the current page. They are starting with a slash, which means they are all relative to the root directory, right? That's why we can access them from any level deep. Okay, so this is called, again, this is another example of a relative directory. The third thing I want to teach you here is absolute URLs. So for examples, you have this absolute URL here, right? I can copy it. I'll go to books. I'll create another link here, and I'll paste this absolute URL here. Okay, so absolute founders. Again, functionality wise, there is no difference. Okay, but this time the URL is absolute, right? It's not relative to anything. You can put this URL anywhere in any page, and it will take you to the founder page. So this is called an absolute URL. Suppose you want to link to an external site called Google. You use normally absolute URLs for that. So again, I'll create a hyperlink, https://google.com. So now this is again a hyperlink, but this time there's an external link. Okay, and it's taking us to the Google page. So we have linked to Google, to another web page, another website, using an external URL. So this is absolute URL, means everything is present from protocol to the domain, everything. Okay, and we can go to any website, and you can do it literally for anything. You can go to, for example, yahoo.com, and I'll name it Yahoo. And now if you click here, I'll just take a minute to load, and if I click Yahoo, it will take me to yahoo.com. Cool. Now, whenever we are clicking an external URL, for example, google.com, usually for external URLs, we don't want it to come over our own page, right? We want want it to open. We want to open it in another tab, for example, right? So for that, we have a lovely target attribute. So what I can do is I can give it a target attribute, and target has these couple of options. I can hover over them to know a little bit more about them. So if I click blank and hit save, now see what happens when I try to open or click on Google. See, my current page is open, and it opens Google in another tab. So this functionality is achieved using target blank. So underscore self value of this target is the default value. Okay, so this self tells that the target where this google.com, this page should be opened, is the self, is this exact same window, same tab. And blank means in a underscore blank means please open it in a new window, a new tab. There are two more values that can go to target. They are parent and top. Now these will make sense when we learn about iframes. So what happens is there can be a page, and inside of an iframe there can be another page. Okay, so to that page, the outer page is a parent. You're getting what I'm saying? So that's why these parent and these top, these will make much more sense when we learn about iframes. But for now, just know that and these two are the most used actually. Underscore blank and underscore self, these are the most used ones. So basically what happens is, if there is a page within a page using iframes, so by here what we are saying is, using parent, it opens the link document in the parent frame. So in the main parents frame, the Google would open up, right? And top means opens the link document in the full body of the current window, essentially breaking out of any frame, right? And this can be handy if your site is being embedded elsewhere and you want to link to break out of the embed. Again, this will make more sense once you know the concept of embedding. Then we'll maybe revisit this thing again. Friends, this link does not have to be just an HTML page. It can be a PDF, it can be an image. Okay, so you will see here that we have an image called sunrise.png in the same level as books, right? We'll be learning about images a lot when we learn about multimedia. For now, if I have an anchor tag, I can link it to sunrise.png. I'll just name it here sunrise. I'll save it. Okay, and now if I refresh the page, and now if I click sunrise, you will see that I'm able to see this nice image, right? I can also give an attribute. Let's see what happens if we give the target attribute to blank. And if I save it, and now if I click on sunrise, we see that sunrise is now opening in a new tab. Now, at times it happens that I don't want to take them to the sunrise image, but I want them to be able to download the image. So for that, we have a very nice attribute called download. So you just give download attribute. It does not need any value. And now if I click sunrise, see, the sunrise image has started downloading. Okay, so we have learned a lot here, friends, and in fact one more topic is remaining. It's called the fragments. But yeah, you have this video, you can speed it up, you can watch it a couple of times. You have all my notes, right? So now friends, if you see coffee page, right? See this coffee page, it's a very, very long page. Very long page, right? One thing I would definitely want to do is, maybe I have something like table of contents. So when I click to origin coffee, it opens, it reaches here, right? Almost like bookmarks, right? If I click on spread to Europe, it should scroll to here. And if I click on modern times, it should take me here, right? So these are called fragments. These are called navigating within the pages, within the same page. Okay, so just to begin with, one thing we need for sure is 3 links, right? So let me create first link. I don't know what its href would be. We'll just see, we'll explore, and it should take me to, it should scroll to origin of coffee. Origin of coffee. Very important topics, friends. I know it's a bit lengthy, but all of these are very important. Another should take me to spread to Europe. Finally, it should take me to modern times. So if you look at our nodes, friends, we can link it using fragments or a pound sign, hash sign, but it needs an identifier, right? Like, we have different identifiers. You have Aadhaar ID, you have PAN card, you have we all have an identifier, right? So we need to somehow give these elements some identifier or ID, and then you can use the pound sign and that ID to navigate to that place. Let's see how it works. So if I go to H2, this origin to coffee, you see that I have given it an identifier called origin. Okay, so what I can do is I can href this origin to coffee to be origin. Similarly, I have given this one an identifier of spread. So the href for this link would be pound spread. And finally, for modern times, I have given it an identifier or an ID of modern times. So I need to use this with a hash. And what this will do, friends, see. If I click to origin of coffee, it takes me to origin of coffee directly. If I click on spread to Europe, it takes me directly to spread to Europe. Such a nice user experience, right? If I click on modern times, it takes me directly to the modern times. Final thing that we would like to do maybe in this chapter is a back to top thingy. How do we do that? How do we take our users back to top? That's pretty simple. Again, we have a link. We have this super useful A tag, but this time href is simply a pound sign, nothing else, just a hash sign with no identifier. This means the top of the current page. So again, beautiful. I can go directly to modern times without scrolling, and from modern times I can go directly back to top. Friends, you can see that I'm putting in a lot of efforts in these tutorials to make them very, very comprehensive. One small like and a small comment will really encourage me and make me and YouTube algorithm very happy.